Hey VC, it's Chad. This is my vinyl finds from February 2019. I know it was a short month, but that didn't stop me from getting a big pile of records here. So let's start with the first thing I got is a new record. Picked this up at my local shop. I took a chance expecting that they would get just regular black vinyl, but they actually got the limited edition version, and it's Jerry Cantrell's Degradation Trip Volume 1 and 2. This was recently released by Music on Vinyl for the first time on vinyl. It comes on 4 LPs. There's a really nice booklet in it. It's numbered. My version is actually number 111, which is pretty cool, out of 2000, and it's on a color vinyl. So this sounds really great. First time on vinyl. Jerry Cantrell, of course, from Alice in Chains. Check it out. So this is a record I didn't find myself buying, I guess. I talked about this before. This is the first time I've purposefully bought this record. And it is an but an early UK Parlophone copy of the Beatles' Revolver. So I haven't really listened to the Beatles much in the past, so I've decided to change that, and I'm going to start with Revolver, and I've been enjoying it. So here it is, Revolver. Here is a great blues record. It's Muddy Waters, After the Rain. And this is his second record on the Cadet concept label. So the Electric Mud was the first one, which I really love. And this one is actually really good too. This is an original copy. I picked it up in a new local store. So I went to over a friend's house a couple weeks ago, or last week, and some people brought over some records to play, and I wasn't familiar with this one, and I was super happy with it, and I picked it up the next day. I was able to find it in a local shop. So it is called Life Tones for a Reason, and this was released. This is actually a reissue on Light in the Attic as a gatefold on black vinyl. I think it's 180 grams. Life Tones is Charles Bullen from This Heat, and it is actually like a dub reggae kind of record. So if you like This Heat and you like dub, you'll enjoy this. There's some good tracks on it. I guess there's catchy kind of avant-garde, it says krautrock repetition. I like the dub aspect of it a lot. The first side, I think it's called Good Side, is the second song here. It's really amazing. So check it out, Life Tones. I believe you can still get this for $20 or something online or in your local store. So check it out, Life Tones. So my local store that I go to pretty much every week bought a collection from a local guy that's been collecting for a long time, and I was able to pick through it, and I got some really great stuff out of it over the last few weeks. And the first week I picked up an original UK copy of Gang of Four's Entertainment. This is one of my favorite records. I actually had just a early, like a reissue of this, so I was happy to upgrade. Great. So this is probably one of the best post-punk records of all time. It's from 1979. So Gang of Four, Entertainment. I showed this one on Facebook, I believe. It's a record I've shown before. Captain Beefheart's Strictly Personal. This one I picked up because it has a different cover. This one is on Sunset out of the UK, part of their contemporary series. So this one was fairly cheap, so couldn't pass it up. And a couple more records from that collection haul that I picked up. This one is a bootleg. I'm not usually a huge fan of bootleg records. I don't have a lot, but I've certainly been picking some up more recently when I find they're interesting, or if they're easy to come by. This one is Nirvana. It's called 15, and it features tracks that were released in 2015 online. Couple versions of Old Age, Polly, Sappy, Here She Comes Now. So these aren't songs that you see a lot. And then there's some other In Utero demos on the B side, which are really great. The sound quality of this is actually really good too. It's on clear vinyl. There's no labels or anything, but it sounds good. So I was glad I picked this up. So I actually had this record, but I never realized I didn't have the first pressing of this record, and it is Ramones' Leave Home, and this is actually the first pressing that includes the track Carvana Not Glue, which they removed from later pressings because they thought they would get sued. So I picked this up fairly cheap. Really nice pressing on Sire Records. And here was the last record I got out of that collection. I was super happy to pick up. It is the self-titled Velvet Underground, and this is on Verve Records out of Japan, as you can see with the nice obi strip here. I think this was from the early to mid 85, it says. And it's, a Japanese audiophile release. Sounds amazing, so I'm looking to pick up some of the other Velvet Underground Japanese pressings to match. So all right, so I got a few rare punk records here. I'll just put those aside for now. And here are, let me see. Here's a nice Stax record. It's Booker T and the MGs, Soul Limbo. It has a cover of the Beatles, Eleanor Rigby. Has an amazing cover of Born Under a Bad Sign. And some other, trying to think of what the, Jimi Hendrix, Foxy Lady is the other cover on here. It's a nice original Stax pressing. Let's see this here. This was a new re-release on Superior Viaduct. I think I saw, actually Andrew from Tales from the Crate posted this recently as well. This is Joe McPhee, Nation Time. This is a super rare jazz kind of funk record free jazz kind of stuff. And this was recently reissued, and a couple friends told me about it, so I picked it up as well. Really cool record. Nation Time from Joe McPhee. Okay. So I picked up this record from a shop, and he gave me a great deal on it because it had a pretty big dish warp in it, and I figured I have a vinyl flat system, and I thought I could take care of it, and I did. And it is an original pressing on Metal Blade Records of the self-titled record from Trouble. And if you're not familiar with Trouble, they are a doom metal band. So this came out in 1984, and it's on silver label Metal Blade. So this was definitely a great pickup for the price, and includes the original insert and everything, and pretty much was able to flatten it to perfect condition. So Trouble. So here are those couple punk records I was talking about. One, I've been looking for this for a long time. I've never seen it out in the wild before. I collect soundtracks, of course, and this is an original pressing of the soundtrack for Suburbia. This was released on Enigma Records in 1984. The A-side features live versions of from TSOL, DI, and the Vandals. Really great songs. Darker My Love from TSOL is amazing. On the back side is the actual soundtrack from Alex Gibson. This hasn't been reissued, so it's kind of hard to find, but really great soundtrack. Really great early punk movie from out of LA, Suburbia. There's a Stone Cold classic UK punk record. It is an original pressing of Stiff Little Fingers, Inflammable Material. This came out on Rough Trade Records, and I got a great deal on this at a local shop. It's actually been well played. It's a little, doesn't look like the best record, but it's punk and it's loud. So there's really no scratches, like skips or ticks or anything. It's just a little surface noise, but was happy to pick this up. I didn't have a copy of this. Of course, the classic Suspect Device is on here. It's the opener on side A. Great punk record. Here's one that's probably not for a lot of people out there. This is a record I've only dreamed of owning as a younger punk kid that listened to Midwest hardcore, and it is an original pressing of Conquest for Death from the band Necros, who was from Maumee, Ohio, and they are one of the first bands on the Touch and Go label. And they're closely, in my eyes, closely associated with the Misfits. They used to play, shows with them. The drummer actually played for the Misfits on their last show in Detroit. But this is really great punk hardcore from 1983, and this is an original pressing. The only thing about this is that it's missing the insert, so I hope to find another copy or an insert one day. But Conquest for Death, Necros. So I have a few more records here. I was actually quite surprised to find this. It's a soundtrack for Dolomite, and The thing about this, it's on blue vinyl, but what's weird about this, it's a nice gatefold, but it was actually released on Relapse Records in 2006. Relapse, of course, isn't known for soundtracks or blaxploitation. It's, you know, a metal label. So I'm not sure what the story is with that, but you know, I couldn't pass it up. It's Dolomite. Really great soul funk, and great blaxploitation movie as well. I think I saw that they are releasing the Human Tornado, the second one, on Record Store Day, so I'll be sure to pick that up. I found a repress of the first West Coast pop art experimental band, so part one. It's a replica. It's on has a Reprise label, the Steamboat tricolor label. I got a copy of the second record, a nice mono promo, a couple months, maybe in December, I think it was. So I'm looking for originals of this, but they are quite expensive, and I don't expect to find it out in the wild anytime soon. So this was fairly cheap. It's a nice reissue. Sounds good. The song "Help I'm a Rock," Frank Zappa, is really great. This is a stereo copy, so West Coast pop experimental band. Actually, this was in that other collection with those other punk records. It is I don't know if this is a bootleg, but it is a MC5, and this is called 66 Breakout, and this is on Total Energy Records, 1999. And what this is it's basically the early demos of MC5. These are you know, garage rock tracks. So there's some paragraphs on the back about how they came to be. It's got Wayne Kramer endorsed it, so I guess it is legitimate, maybe kind of gray area stuff, but I don't really see this around, so I definitely wanted to pick this up. It sounds pretty good. I think some of it's live, so it is from 1965 and 1966. MC5. All right, so these last three or four records I have here are grails, or just really great records. This is a record that, as a kid, seeing in you know, Maximum Rock and Roll and some other punk want lists that I always saw, just never came across it, and never really thought to look for it on like Discogs. And this was from that other collection, and I've listened to this probably no less than a dozen to 15 times in February. This is probably going to be my favorite record that I've found of 2019, for as much as I've been playing it. I haven't got sick of it yet. And it is an original pressing of Black Randy and the Metro Squad. Past the Dust, I Think I'm Bowie, which is a really great title. Kind of goes with it. This is an original pressing on Danger House Records, which of course is a famous punk label out of LA. Black Randy and the Metro Squad are a punk band, but in a sense it's like other punk bands like Big Boys and Dicks, and it's infused with funk and just some other genres that makes really catchy hooks. It's kind of You know, the lyrics are, you know, comical, offensive at times, but they're just really great, catchy songs. And I don't know, I'm just so happy to pick this up. If you haven't heard Black Randy before, check out some tracks. Marlon Brando, I Want to Be a Narc, Sperm Bank Baby, the song Down at the Laundromat appeared on the Yes LA comp, which was also on Danger House, which is a famous LA punk compilation. So yeah, I know this was repressed on Frontier Records within the last 5 years or so, but definitely pick it up. One of my favorite records of the year. And I think this came out originally in like 79 or so. I think this might have been the last release on Danger House. Yeah, 1979. But it's actually makes me want to kind of complete the Danger House catalog. I think there's maybe 19 or 20 releases. Some of them are crazy expensive, like the Avengers first 7-inch and X adult books, but some of them aren't too crazy. And I know were repressed in a box set on Record Store Day within the last few years, but I just really love this Black Randy record. So Black Randy and the Metro Squad. Another record that I saved from a warping. Got a really great price on this. Unfortunately, I don't know, it's really thin on Epic, but it is, I've done it twice through the vinyl flat, and it hasn't gone completely flat, but it's playable. And I might try again at another time, but it is Inspiration Information from Shuggie Otis, and this is a promo copy. It's got a cut corner. The jacket has a little bend in it, and it looks like somebody chewed it or something, but the vinyl's pretty nice other than a little warp in it. But like I said, for the price I paid for it, it's an expensive record. I know it was repressed on Luaka Bop recently as well. But I'm happy with this copy. I just hope it flattens out a little more for me. Really great guitar work on here. Really funky stuff. Shuggie Otis. So I have two more records here. One is a record I grabbed from Half Price Books on a happened to be on a sale coupon. I don't think it was a coupon. I think it was just a sale week. This isn't something you see a lot of in a store, so I definitely went right for it. It is the Art Ensemble of Chicago, Les Stances Sophia. I think it's like a French soundtrack. This was a release on Nessa Records, so it's an original copy, and it has the first track on here themed to Yo-Yo, yeah, that's the name of it. Theme to Yo-Yo. Has great vocal work from Fontella bass. And I think actually Andrew mentioned Fontella bass recently as well for another art ensemble record that he had picked up. But this record is a killer jam, especially that first side and that first song. It's, I think, over 9 minutes long. It doesn't list the titles here, but definitely pick up a repress, or if you can find a copy of this record here. I do highly recommend it. It's funky, free jazz stuff. I love the art ensemble of Chicago as well. Look to pick some more of their stuff up, especially the early stuff's great. So yeah, was super stoked to pick this up. Grail of grails. I grabbed this on eBay on a buy it now. It's kind of funny. If I was to do, I've done my top 100 in my mind or on paper. I just never did a video for it. And this record is in my top 3 of all time. And it's kind of funny. I think Vinyl Richie had the same. I think he said that the White Album from the Beatles is one of his favorite records, if not his favorite record, and he didn't have it on vinyl either. Not that I didn't have this on vinyl, I just didn't have an original. I've actually been looking for a few years. The pricing has just got out of control, and I never see it locally. I have some early pressings of this. This is probably the 4th pressing. I think I have, the 4th variation of this I have. And it came up on eBay, and it was a buy it now, and I just went right for it without regard to the condition of it or anything. And it actually sounds amazing. So I'm not in a hurry right now to replace it. I don't, this could be my forever copy. So enough rambling about it. It is an original copy of the Stooges Funhouse, and it is an Epic Butterfly label, original gatefold US copy. And the only thing about the jacket is really nice. There is a slight bit of ring wear on the back. So the only thing that's kind of a hindrance to me is that somebody wrote, looks like maybe a grocery list or a price tag on the back. But other than that, the gatefold's pretty nice. Usually you see, a hole punch or a lot of ring wear on these, so definitely isn't much to improve upon. It's actually missing the inner sleeve. It's just the generic Electra black inner sleeve is what they came with originally, so I can easily find a copy of that. But yeah, the Funhouse from the Stooges Funhouse. This is a record I would want to be buried with, and I will be playing this a lot this year. You'll probably see it again next year on my top 10 finds of 2019. It will be hard for me to top this. So, the Funhouse. So, yeah, that's basically what I got in February. I actually had another box set, but I forgot about it. So I'll throw that in. I got started shopping yesterday. I got a few records for March. So I hope to find some good stuff. And I think that's about it. Thanks for watching, BC. Peace.